At BFD, we often seek to refine our craft, get better, share information with each other as we deliver on client work. So I'm going to share with you quickly something I shared with my team this week. And this is basically an experiment that's made up of two parts: rethinking the web and the browser specifically for a new era, and also rethinking, or at least bringing the best of what we know about information visualization and kind of going back to the basics and introducing that in this new era of chat-based interactions that oftentimes overwhelm us. And I'm surprised that most of these large companies have not really put a lot of effort in making their experiences somewhat usable. And so some of the overwhelm that we feel often has to do with just the density of information that is presented to us. So I'm going to quickly get into it without getting into all the details and demo this. So first, the web should work for you. Humans should not be caught up in the web. We've normalized that. We've created design patterns to try to simplify that. But nonetheless, the web is not for humans. Cars should be driving themselves, right? That's another belief I have. Humans should not be behind the wheel. Anyway, that's a different story. So let's go into one interaction. So I'll use a preset prompt to see what happens, right? Basically, I'm just asking, catch me up on the 5 stories. You'll see that one of the first things I'm doing here is not using the accepted or the traditional chat-based prompt design or chat-based bubbles and whatnot. I'm trying to rethink, is there a different way? Is there a better way of presenting information? Again, since it's an experiment, I don't yet have that evidence that it is better. But as a creative, there are some things that I'm seeing right off the bat that are just slightly better. So I'm going to see results soon that is substantially better than what you would often see if you were to take this prompt and present it in any of the existing LLM solutions. So let's see. All right. Okay, so this design is based off of the old school Ben Schneiderman's information seeking mantra. I've been thinking a lot about how to stay grounded in an era of stochastic knowledge and information generation. And one way to do that is to be grounded in old books and old concepts and precepts and tested and tried wisdom, like religious books. I'm not particularly religious, but I'm also not. Anyway, that's a different story. And so I went back to Ben Schneiderman's information seeking mantra just because it is an easy way to explain information visualization to people, but also to models. These models are there's a lot of intelligence in the parameters, but oftentimes you have to steer it. So I went back to that to say, hey, this is how I want to rethink information visualization. And I am at the first iteration of doing that. So you can see that it has answered me with very succinct, like, here's what you need to know. And there's probably a better way of doing it, because I think this year is perhaps the more important succinct answer. But the beauty of, like, the thing that I was going for is the ability to navigate in and out of different parts of the answer. There are other ways of visualizing that, of course, right? So we can look at the full answer, see some of the details that it's based on. And then I can click on details and I can see how we got here, the evidence that was considered, steps, and some of the statistics around this run, how much it cost, and the tokens used. Again, Ben Schneiderman's information seeking mantra is about overview first, present to the human being an overview of everything that you need them to know for that data set. And this data set is the answer to my question. Allow the human to zoom in, or give them the ability to zoom into any part of the larger data set. And then details on demand. So if they're seeking extra details in or outside of the data set, go ahead and present that. And then filter and extract. So we have an overview here. Could be designed better. And then we have zoom And here I can zoom into part of some of the details, and then I can get additional details by prompting. Obviously, there are also details like in here, and then filter, extract, which we haven't accounted for. So this is what I shared with the team, and the experiment continues, and we are all just experimenting. Life is one large experiment, and I hope that you're having fun in the process.